Hi, it's Allison Durant coming to you from my studio in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And you've probably heard artists or creatives talking about breaking a blank page, just getting started on this white page or canvas, this substrate staring back at you. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to work on how to break a blank page, working in the form of mini cards. And I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about how I'm breaking cabin fever, as it is super, super cold with this polar vortex here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Minus 54 wind chill, and today I think is minus 34 and considered balmy. So I have on my long johns and I have so much inspiration and color in front of me just to kind of keep me going during this really, really cold stretch. So thank you so much for joining me today. There was something in particular that I really wanted to share, which is this beautiful oracle deck that has arrived. It had come last week, and it's from an artist friend by the name of Kim Dills. And she and I had taken a course together, and as those of you that have been following me know that I had published my oracle deck titled Art Poetry for Insights and Inspiration, and I had published that just this past summer, 2023. And I had actually started doing YouTube videos. I believe my first YouTube video was maybe back in May of 2023, and the inspiration behind the video was creating the oracle deck, this which I don't refer to as an oracle deck, sort of art poetry cards in this deck format. So today I thought we could pull a card from my deck and use it for inspiration if I remember, but I really just wanted to highlight this artist and her deck because I know the amount of heart, the amount of art that goes into creating these decks. So Kim and I had taken an online class together, and we've never met in person, we've never spoken, but we did decide to support each other, and we swapped our card decks. So I was so excited to get this last week, and it was boxed up beautifully and tightly packaged, and I had decided just to wait to do a video, but then the other day I just couldn't wait any longer. We had written to each other and she'd asked if I opened it, and I was like, I haven't, but I'm going to because it's driving me crazy. There's so much beauty in this little box. So again, I'll link Kim's social media and her website. She is selling this Souls Seeking Seed oracle deck on her website now, and it is kdills.com. So stands for Kim Dills, and so www.kdills.com. So that is where you can purchase this deck, and I believe it is $42 US, which is around $56.28 or just under $57 Canadian. And I know that she's shipping all over the US, and I'm not too sure about other countries, but you can definitely reach out if you're in another country and you're hoping to purchase this deck. It is really beautiful. So I've opened it, but I haven't really had a good close look at it. I wanted to save that for the video with you all. So this, well, I guess we'll start with its 42 card oracle deck with a guidebook, which is amazing because I know just how tedious and it's hard enough to kind of publish. This is all of her original art in the form of a deck, and I just know how much work has gone into this, let alone having this beautiful little guidebook to go with the deck. So it's just such a nice addition. This is the most beautiful gift. So it's 42 cards. The cards are really great quality. The deck is called Souls Seeking Seed, playful pairings of flora and fauna from mountains to prairies. And the box alone is a gift in itself. It has this magnetic shut closure, and it on the side here, she actually has has put a quote here from Terence McKenna. Animals are something invented by plants to move seeds around, an extremely yang solution to a peculiar problem which they faced. So how cute is that? Just as you open the deck, you have a quote here, you have a little poem here, The Murmuring Meadow, and then, of course, the back, it says, playful pairings of flora and fauna from mountains to prairies. Souls Seeking Seed is a collection of 42 oracle cards depicting pairings of animals, birds, and insects with flowers, plants, and herbs. Each card and pattern was created from original paintings by the artist. In addition, a guidebook is enclosed to serve the interpretation and meanings of the cards. And I just can't wait to dive in. I'm gonna just see if I can zoom you all in a little bit closer. So that's the front. The side, almost like, you know, you have a bookcase, or I know a lot of people collect these card decks. Just having them lined up is just, it's so, what a nice addition, having this along the side and the back. And so the beautiful inner part of the box. I'm not a YouTuber that does unboxing, so I feel like this is making me laugh to myself inside right now because I'm just pretending. Oh, and look at that silver foiled edging. Isn't that just stunning? A beautiful addition, because it's really hard to find cards with that foiled edging. And this is the artwork that she chose for the front. It's a really simple but intricate and beautiful kind of geometric design that she had created. And I love that she used all of her original art in here. And so let's just flip through these cards together. So the first one is Balance, and it's a beautiful alpaca and aster. So the next one is Serendipity, hares and honeysuckle. This one is Longevity with this gorgeous turtle, a terrapin, and thyme. So a terrapin, turtle, and thyme, the herb. Some of these I'm really needing to look up more information about, both the creature, the insect, the animal, and the plant or herb or flora. This one is titled Abundance, so it's a grasshopper with ginkgo. And just as I'm flipping through the deck, what I'm noticing is, well, I guess first just the beauty, the joy, the individuality. So Kim being just making this card deck so unique because this is all her own art. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I really like how there's a cohesive color palette, because I think that's just a whole nother level of when you're creating a deck to, you know, be mindful about the colors that you love and that you use in your work and how it all ties together. So in looking at Kim's website for the first time this morning, she is a very established professional artist who has sold so many works, and just looking at her art, she has just this beautiful cohesiveness with both the images, you know, the subject matter, as well as the colors. So Transformation, this is Toad and Tiger Lily. I'm just going to put on another light here. I don't know if it's going to brighten things up, but this is Cicada and Sedum, and it's Renewal. I love this one. I love dogs. I love animals, but I just love dogs. I grew up with golden retrievers, and it just reminds me of the outline of a lab or a golden retriever. And of course I have my little rescue dog, but Devotion. So I love both the word and dog and Daisy. You know, I think of how beautiful it would be you know, to frame a card a day or a week or a month and just sort of have it up at the bedside, or, you know, those fridge magnet holders. I've done that with artist cards before. Actually, I had, oh, here it is. This little artist card I received last year, and I had put it in this magnet holder for the fridge. So I kind of rotate inspiring artist trading cards and put them on my fridge. Okay, back to the deck. So this one is Confidence. So the peacock and the peony. I just love her artwork. You know, just this line work of the peony here, and then filling it in here, that gorgeous peachy color, the turquoises, just her choice of words. This is really amazing. I think Kim is gonna sell out really quick. Hopefully she's prepared. Enthusiasm, the otter and the orchid. This one is Awakening, the raven and the ranunculus. I'm surprised I can pronounce some of these words. I may find out later that I'm not quite getting it down, but that's all right. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. This one, Harmony, which is thrush and thistle. She's also numbered the cards on the deck, which I believe make it a lot easier when you're searching for the page number and reading about, oh, I just happened to open it to the right one. Inspiration, the dragonfly and dogwood. So here I'll just read this little blurb. The font is small, but it's a gorgeous font. The dragonfly is the expression of spirit and soul, self-awareness and perspective. The dogwood flower, it mitigates renewal, loyalty, spiritual growth. Emanates renewal, loyalty, spiritual growth. Paired together, the soul of the dragonfly with the seed of the dogwood encourages us to awaken our inner muse and seek inspiration from our surroundings and experiences. And then the raccoon, Perseverance, the raccoon and rosemary. The raccoon is known for being resourceful, having a zest for exploration and embracing opportunity when presented. The rosemary herb has the power to cleanse, protect, and provide focus to the mind. Paired together, the soul of the raccoon with the seed of the rosemary challenge us to focus on daily tasks and persevere in future goals. So you kind of get the idea of the guidebook here. So I just noticed this. It says, My Wish by Kim Dills. I began this journey with the wish that users of this deck would not only find enjoyment in the imagery and message, but develop more of an appreciation and respect for the plants and animals with which we share this earth. There is a symbiotic relationship between animals, plants, and insects that is truly magical. Oh, that makes me emotional. It's that cabin fever sinking in, right? That is absolutely beautiful. She has a lovely table of contents. I just see this as being, what a wonderful gift. And I like I said, I just met Kim through this course, and, you know, here we're connecting through art, and it's just really special. So this one is Empathy, which is deer and dahlias. So just this word empathy, you know, from having read Kim's wish on that page in her book, it just makes me think of her being a very empathetic human. Communication, prairie dog and poppy. Clarity, the hawk and the hollyhock. Responsibility, donkey and daffodil. Perception, the fox and flax. Resourcefulness, the bear and the blackberry. Awareness, the quail and quince. I just love that color palette. Exploration, the groundhog and the geranium. Tranquility, the dove and the dandelion. Independence, the cat and chamomile. Transition, Luna moth and lily of the valley. Assertiveness, the antelope and angelica. Vision, the firefly and fuchsia. Communication, the squirrel and sage. Dignity, the elk and the echinacea. Oops. I see a lot of echinacea in the summer here outside our home in Calgary. I love this art. The yew and eucalyptus, humility. This deck is absolutely stunning. I feel like emotional as I go through these cards. I feel like her art just has this ability to connect through the colors, through the images. So much thoughtfulness has gone into everything about this. Contentment, the cow and the clover. It's a very peaceful image. Confidence, the cardinal and cherry blossom. Healing, the honeybee and the hibiscus. Enlightenment. I have to think about this. The scarab and safflower. I bet my son would know what that is. He's still waiting for me to create a deck on dinosaurs and ocean life, so that's on my list. This one is Optimism, the butterfly and buttercup. I love the little buttercup. Curiosity, the goat and gardenia. This whole deck is making me more curious. I want to look up a lot of both words that Kim's using, the vocabulary, also the names of the flora and fauna, the plants and animals. This is Serenity, the swallow and sunflower. Adaptability, the possum and primrose. Consistency, the bison and borage. And introspection, the owl and orange blossom. Rebirth, the iguana and indigo. Like, look at these. And just the colors. Wow. Really amazing. I can see why Kim is almost sold out of all of her original art on her website. Protection, hedgehog and heather. So I believe that was all of the cards. I'm gonna do a shuffle and we're just gonna see what we come up with. And these cards are easier to shuffle than my card deck, which I appreciate. I don't know if these are 300 or 350 grams, but it's a really great quality cardstock. And just this process of taking the time to slow down, seeing the reflection of the light on the sides here, this silver. I just see the sun reflection here and the beauty in this moment of doing this video with you all and feeling more connected to an artist in another country. I am needing to work on my shuffling skills. There's so many ways to do this, but we'll just do it this way today. Dignity, beautiful, the elk and echinacea. And funny how both the elk and echinacea are very much Canadian, they speak to me because I'm in Canada, so I'm very familiar with both the elk and echinacea, and I'm going to look at this number 33 and take out my little book. this would be a fun exercise to do with if you have kids or a partner. I was just thinking of my preschooler. You know, this deck would be a lot of fun just to talk about, you know, the animal and just the relationship between plants and insects and our earth. So number 33, Dignity, Elk and Echinacea. The elk is considered the nobleman of the forest. With head held high, it exudes strength and pride. The echinacea flower nurtures health, wellness, and healing. Paired together, the soul of the elk with the seed of echinacea calls to our overall wellness and dignity. It's really interesting that I would pull this card because I was thinking, when I used to work as a registered nurse, I did a lot of counseling in primary care offices, so family doctors' offices and clinics, with patients who had chronic illness, diabetes, osteoporosis, kidney disease, anything that sort of, you know, lasts over, I think the definition is 6 months, like a chronic illness, chronic fatigue syndrome, you know, hypertension, high blood pressure. So the link with all of those chronic illnesses is, you know, usually lifestyle. There's things that we can do that can help us manage that chronic illness. And I'm kind of going sidetracking here, but I'm thinking of myself. And when I would see patients, I was sort of trained in what's called motivational interviewing. So asking the patient, what is just one thing you could do to improve your health? And I would ask them that as soon as they came into the office. So, you know, we'd have a quick chat. We all know that physicians and other healthcare providers, you know, they really just don't have time these days. You as the patient, when you're going into the office, often have some idea of what would benefit you prior to the visit. So what I was taught is, you know, trying to have that open conversation with a patient and just saying, you know, what do you think would improve your health if there was just one thing you could do, you know, today, this month, just the smallest goal. And, you know, often patients would say, you know, if there's one thing I could do, it would be related to, say, maybe moving more, like activity level. Like I'd really like to be able to, you know, walk longer, or I know that if I had a better sleep, I would manage my pain better. You know, I know that I am maybe eating the wrong foods, too much of certain things, maybe eating out a lot. I'm totally going off track here, but I try and kind of turn that question on myself and say, okay, what is one thing that I need to work on within my life, my health? What's one thing I can do? And often that's just one small thing you can focus on. So for me, when I was thinking of an intention for this, I was just thinking, I don't edit my videos and I really don't know if I like where I'm going with this, but it's just what's coming to me. So bear with me if you're interested. So if you ask yourself, what's one thing you can do to improve your health? So for me, it would be, well, I can't get outside right now. So normally I walk the dog every day, and that really helps my ergonomics and my overall mental health. Because I can't do that, I think my goal, my small goal, would be just to say today, you know, maybe put on some music or go somewhere in the house where there's bright light and just do 10 minutes of some kind of exercise. So I think I'll look up, there's got to be tons of videos on here for following along with, you know, whether it's yoga, stretching, exercise. So right now I'm being accountable, and as much as I just feel like painting today and doing this video with you all, I could just sit here for hours, but I know that it would benefit me if I could just go and get my heart pumping, even if it's just 10 minutes. So I'm committed to doing that. And I think I was just thinking about this because my whole goal this year is my health, the importance of self-care and just really focusing on health, because, that's, we need health for everything, health and wellness. And this past year, I think I was just more focused on pushing myself a bit too hard with, the business of art and shows, and I just want to zero in on self-care. Hi, Oakley. He heard me talking. Are you going to do the YouTube exercise with me? There you are. Hi, Oakley. So I'm just gonna see if I can tilt. Oh, there he goes. I was gonna show you Oakley. Anyway, there's so much inspiration from this card, and again, it's making me think I really want to do this mind map of what would benefit me right now for my health. And with my patients, I used to say, on a scale of 0 to 10, how confident are you? You can say, take 10 minutes, go find a YouTube video and put it on and get your heart rate up. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not confident at all, 10 being like really confident. How confident are you? And so they would give me a number. So right now, doing this to myself, I would say I am probably a 7 out of 10. And then we look at level of conviction. So I would say on a scale of 0 to 10, how convinced are you that this would benefit you? And absolutely, it would be a 10 out of 10. I know 100% that it would benefit me, even if I did like 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day of some kind of aerobic or exercise, moving, stretching, even my physio exercises, because I've been doing that for piriformis syndrome. So if, for instance, you're listening and you are low on the level of confidence you have, so say you are saying, I know that it would benefit me if I went to bed, 20 minutes earlier, or I turned off my blue light, so turned off the computer, my phone, the TV, say an hour before bed. So how confident are you that you can do that? And if you feel like you're not super, super confident, or how do I say it? I think what I'm trying to get at is you have to believe that it would benefit you. So you really need to zero in on, I'm really going off track today, I'm sorry guys, but just remembering that small goals add up to so much. And I know for me, I feel like just talking about this is making me accountable. So I'm way more likely to go exercise today because I'm just saying it out loud. I also like the idea of writing it down. So thinking of just one really small thing you can do to improve your health and how it adds up to so much. So I feel like even sleep for me, that's important to get to bed earlier, turn off my phone or, the TV earlier. And if you're not that convinced, so say on a conviction scale of 0 to 10, 10 like you totally know it would benefit you, but maybe you're just a 5 out of 10. It's more about kind of seeking information to help you with making the decision to know what's important. Okay, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Kim. So I've gone way off track today. I wanted to emphasize the benefit of small, tangible goals, because these days we all have such busy lives. We have a very limited amount of time, and just knowing that even 5 or 10 minutes a day, whether it's art or, again, getting to bed 5 minutes earlier, it's all so important. What did that have to do with this card? I don't know. Anyways, so Kim is selling these on her website right now. And I can't believe I just feel like editing this video. But at least you can just forward through and hopefully you're all painting alongside me. And you can make a choice as to whether or not you listen or watch. So this again, I'm going to link Kim Dill's Soul Seeking Seed. I think it's $42 US, around $56 Canadian. And don't hesitate to reach out to Kim if you have any questions, or if you're in a country and you're wondering about the process of how to get the deck to you. And so this just made my day. It's so beautiful. So we're gonna just set that aside. I'm going to pull one of my own cards because it's been a while. This is the last one that I did with you on video. And I'm just gonna mix them up this way. Okay, that's a really good card for how I'm feeling right now, because I'm just almost like having this massive feeling of regret with what I just said to you and my dialogue. And it's probably the cabin fever speaking for me. And being present is just really what I needed to hear right now. The only thing that matters is this moment right now, with me being on video and connecting with you all somehow if you're watching this. And even if there's just the slightest bit of inspiration you get from my videos, that makes me happy. So remembering, you know, I'm one of those people that, you know, I analyze conversations probably too much, things within relationships, and it's just like, you know, the more you think about something that happened in the past or what's coming along, you know, in your future, just being present, that reminder that in this moment, how are we feeling right now? Are we, you know, feeling like we're in a good place? Because that is all that matters, is being present. And this is my why. So the reason I paint is to stay present. And I think the reason I started these videos is to be both accountable and just to stay present in the moment, where, because I don't edit and I just go with whatever speaks to me. So this is my painting titled In the Elements 2. I had a painting which is also in here, In the Elements 1. I called it In the Elements because when I paint, I am in my element. I am also in the elements because I live right by the Rocky Mountains here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So I am definitely in the element today with, I think of this as sort of a winter scene, that kind of icy blue up there, and just, you know, having all this darkness, but these beautiful colors coming through. And I think of that with this polar vortex and how there is beauty within it, and beauty coming out of the darkness, and we are truly in our element. So that's just what made me think of this. And oddly enough, somebody just had purchased this at 36 inches square. So this is one I am going to be getting from my printer, 36 inches square, quite a large mountain painting, and I'm going to embellish it. So that is a great card for me to see today. This is also a color palette I don't use very much, so I might go back to that depending on time. So I'm just gonna slip my card deck back in this little tuck box, and I wanted to show you where I left off, because yesterday I did a YouTube video. I've been doing them a little bit more regularly with this cold weather. And I had purchased these small tins, which I had linked. I'd linked all of this in my last video, but I just wanted to show you some of the work I had done last evening. So I love the size of these little cards. They're very, very small. I'm not used to working this small. They're slightly smaller than an artist trading card. I believe these are 3.5 by 2.1 inches versus, I think an artist trading card is 3.5 by 2.5. Don't hold me to it. I'd have to look it up. I mean, an artist trading card is whatever you want it to be, right? You decide, as well as the person who's on the receiving end can decide. So these cards, though, I just love because sometimes it's nice to work small. So last evening, again, I was home, I was inside, I wanted to wind down, and I just started to add to each of these cards with different mixed media elements. just with some new techniques that I wanted to try. And they were so fun to do because there's just no pressure. They're so small. I mean, if it doesn't turn out, you can paint over it. It's just this little piece of paper. If it does turn out, these are wonderful little cards. Oh, there's some of my print proofs in here from my cow, Vegan Yet. But I thought I would just share with you the joy of working small. So we can do a few of these backgrounds today, and I just wanted to see what else I wanted to talk to you about. This card I was playing around with Gustav Klimt's swirls, the gold. These little X's I had recently seen on Ray Missigman's miniature works. It's just mark making that I've sort of had in my back pocket in my inspiration file, and things that I wanted to try. So these circles, I love metallics, I love the neons. You can see the length of this fluorescent red within all of my work. And there it is there. So fluorescent red, that is a color I used in a lot of these cards. I just had a pop of that there. And so you can make your own oracle deck, right? It can be anything you want. It can be just a word. It can be images, say, that remind you of your life, your childhood, you know, flowers, maybe your childhood home, animals, flowers, you know, herbs. It can be inspirational cards, you know, of an artist that you really like. I feel like we, you know, as artists, we inspire each other. So I just wanted to share with you. So these fit in this little tin nicely because I had used my corner punch, and I talked about this in my last video. I also linked all of this as far as materials. So that should all be there. And I did also order a slightly larger tin. It's really not much larger than this one, but I believe this is more like artist trading card size. And I love that it has this little window. So I purchased these on Amazon too. There's an artist trading card, just a base I had started. And I believe this, which is artist trading card size, fits in here nicely. It does. So that's awesome. So these little tins are great if you're going to invest in a tin. I'm not sure about the price point, but again, I can link these ones as well. The other ones are in my video. But I think I would go with this size. I also tried to slip in some of my Beam Paint watercolors, and these tins are wonderful. If you have purchased individual watercolors from a store and you don't, this is one that's empty by the Ocean Paper, some of my little empties. But these tins are great if you need a tin. Also, just thinking about, do you have an old Altoid tin, or, you know, that had mints in it, or trying to think of what other tins you might have around, but I do like these little window tins. So we'll set those aside for a second. See if I can free up some space on my very busy desk. Oh, some of you had mentioned affordability and watercolors, and I have to tell you that when I had started painting with my son, I had purchased Crayola washable watercolors, non-toxic, and I think I had purchased these at the Dollarama. They're also available in different places, Michael's, wherever. The dollar store is probably the best place if you have one, and I have to say, if you have fairly good quality papers, so my recommendation is at least 140 pounds and up. That's awesome. If you can't afford, you know, the 140 pound and up, I would go with 90 to 98 pounds. I feel like if you have a decent quality paper, the watercolors will go on beautifully. And so just as a reminder that, you know, using what you have because it's what's in your area, what's affordable, and you know, and you may start to use, you know, a cheaper set more often because you're not hesitant, you know, to, I guess, waste it, because there's that line of thinking where, you know, if you don't want to waste it, you're probably more likely to use it. And you can do it with kids, which is great. So I can always do a little paint session with that. I'll just see how we are for time. But I want to show you a couple things. I had purchased this book over the holidays, and I just had a discovery in my art journal. So I bought this watercolor book. This was at a thrift store, and I had purchased it probably 20 years ago. Maybe longer, and I just loved the pages. I love these, it's like 3-tiered pages in here. And when I was teaching on Patreon, I had done little demos in the book about getting gesso down on the page. So this is black gesso. Gesso provides tooth to, you know, say a book that doesn't have a great paper weight. So this was May Patreon 2022. So really all this was taking this page from the book, which was, you're probably thinking, you know, why would you wreck a really great watercolor book? To be honest, I don't paint realistically. I read the book, I like the book, but I didn't love the book. And I thought it would make a wonderful art journal and a way to reuse it. So I could have donated it, but I feel like it is fairly old. There's a lot of great watercolor books out. So I had taken this glossy page and I had turned it into a gessoed page. This is an example of a spread right here that has the gesso, and it's sort of like running your fingers on a chalkboard. And I had just started this with some stenciling, but I wanted to revisit this. I love how I was just putting down, if you think about, without all the detail, without all the mark making, all I was doing was putting down a solid color. So the turquoise, the, you know, darker army green, turquoise again with subtle polka dots, this color. And then I was going with mark making that inspired me from, say, a book that I was reading, or, you know, different marks that I wanted to try out, different materials. And going back to this now, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I did incorporate, say, you know, this type of feather in my work. Oh, I really like this line work on these little trees. I like how the Posca pen, when it dried, it left those kind of cracks. Like, how can I achieve that at the time? So again, my intention this year is self-care, health, my focus as best I can. But at that time, it was hope, resilience, and strength that came to my mind here. The other page was just kind of really messy, getting color down with an old credit card, like an old gift card, and then using Posca pens and just plain. And then again, practicing on black gessoed paper with whites and golds. So you can see this is the paper here. And then this page, just again, play. And I was writing down calm and create. Those were really important words to me. So, you know, what word comes to your mind right now? If you're just to think of one word, you know, one intention that something might be kind of needed in your life. And have you thought about writing it down? I also wanted to show you, well, this is how I do my mind mapping. So this was not gesso, this was an absorbent watercolor ground, because I love watercolor, and it was experimental. And I really like the way it turned out. So here's the mind map I did in January, and it says Beam Paints palette, so swatches. I was talking about doing, you know, going over that palette, which I've done. I just kind of put whatever was kind of on my mind, things I wanted to cover, you know, in maybe my YouTube videos, things going on with, say, my health or in my life, just getting it out in this map format instead of a linear list really helps me. I also like how the watercolor turned out on here. So this page, it shows, again, this, I used Daniel Smith absorbent watercolor ground. So if you're a watercolor artist and you really just want to try and put watercolor on something you wouldn't otherwise, it's like a gesso for watercolorists. I really don't have a lot of knowledge with it, but I love how this page has turned out, and I can't wait to do mark making over top. And it was just a way to repurpose this book, this page, and I love the size of this. So this is another, it was a huge painting I cut up, and I can't wait to go back to it. I just glued that down, so lots of pages in here to go back to. And here's again some absorbent watercolor ground, another gesso page ready to go. And I think what I have done is I put a little W with a circle, which was sort of my shorthand for absorbent ground, background, do watercolor on top, because it looks like the gesso I was using, the white gesso pages. So I didn't want to go to this and do watercolor on top because it wouldn't really totally absorb. So what I could do now is, well, I just wanted to kind of show you up close the texture and how that turned out. It's just kind of neat. So art journaling is all about exploration, discovery, play. And, okay. I see I got a message and it's blocking my time. I wonder how we are for time. I'm not sure, but I think I'm gonna go straight to this book. Art is Art. It was Heather's pick. I think Heather works at one of the Chapters Indigo locations. So I'm here in Canada, and so I purchased this book from Chapters Indigo. I don't know if it's Indigo now or just Chapters. I think it's Indigo. And the author is, it was edited by Anne Kappes, Kappes. And I really liked this because it was a feature book when I walked in the store, and I was sort of taken with the interest in the cover. Very simple yet interesting. And it's collaborating with neurodiverse artists at Creativity Explored. So this celebrates artists with neurodiversity or that are that have disabilities, and I really, really loved flipping through this book for inspiration. So it's so important that, you know, all of us have an outlet, have creativity in our lives. You know, just how art is empowering. I just saw the word powerful. But I love how it shows sculptured art from these individuals that might not have the same opportunity as, you know, you and I, people dealing with different types of mental health conditions, physical conditions, neurodiverse conditions. And the art in here is amazing. So inspiring. There's some art that really resonated with me. So there's different chapters. That one's called Bits and Pieces. So this one, this is really cute. I'd missed that when I first flipped through. Mixed Media on a Wood Block by James Miles. This is really cool. James Montgomery, it's called Betty's Boombox. Mixed Media on Wood. Just how art can be everything, and it's different for everyone, and we all have our own voice. Creativity is in all of us. This one is just buttons, sort of found objects on a wood tray. That's really neat. I've seen a lot of photographers, like, you know, people that might be gardeners or florists, and then arranging their flowers, and then that's their artwork that they put into print. It's just really a neat idea. Oh, funny, I was talking about In the Elements. So chapter 15, inspired by the elements. Now, I haven't read this book yet, but you can kind of get an idea from it. I love that page as I think about those fish cards, those ocean life cards that I want to do for my son. Let's just check out a few other chapters in here. Oh, this is one I really, really liked. I speak through art. So art is freedom, it's expression. Chapter 14. I just really love the mark making in some of these works. So this is Patrick Ng, mixed media on chipboard. These are almost little scored tablets. I think that's where my healthcare background is coming in. Little kind of like scored tablets or candies, but then you have another favorite of mine is polka dots. So black backgrounds with the white polka dots. I love the contrast. I love polka dots. This is really, really neat. This top one. So colored pencil on paper. So just opening this page makes me want to take out some toned paper, or maybe paint, you know, say this little card, a neutral color background. So instead of breaking the blank white page, breaking a toned page. And I just love all the white in there. I love the abstraction. It's untitled. That was by Hung K. Shu. Be neat to know where these people are from, where these artists are from. I really, really like this bottom one by Marcus McClure, also acrylic and marker on paper. I love the colors in there. I love the looseness, the brush marks. There was some that I was flipping through and I just was like, oh, I really want to kind of borrow that technique. It talks about medicine helps. So there's a little chapter on medicine. This is Curious Menagerie, so little animals. Look at all the detail in this one by Anne Yamasaki. That's beautiful. Another one that's untitled. And they have photos of all of the artists at the back of the book with all of their signatures here, which is super cool. So Creativity Explored is what this group is called. There's so many people, so many different ages, backgrounds. But this is probably a book that's really going to inspire me, well, for a long time. This is embroidery here. So hopefully they'll get this book into some of the libraries. This one's really beautiful. So sculptures. I'm gonna have to flip through and find, wanted to highlight some of the things to go back to. This is so cool. Richard Wright, A Very Fine and Delicious Lunch. That's awesome. It's a great activity to do with, you know, to do yourself as an artist, to challenge yourself. And also I think about doing that with my son. I love just the black and white writing in here. That is amazing. This makes me want to figure out, you know, what part of my handwriting do I love? Do I love my printing or my handwriting? Or I just think this is so neat with some of the solid, you know, filling in of the letters. This is cool. Black leather jacket zipper. Metal for men are, what's that say? Something or masculus. For men are is that masculines? Masculus. Younger, they have energy, something genius, or young adults, strong and healthy in their 20s and 30s. Can't quite read all of that. It's kind of cool. I love how some written art is illegible and some is illegible. This one's titled Tom Cruise. So Vicky Guerrero, probably not pronouncing that right. This is really interesting. Like, this is so cool. It's just on a black background. They are full of holy, brilliant thoughts, and that's the title. Ooh, the detail. Civic duty. So much variety in here. There's a few pieces I thought, I want to try it. Just need to see if I can find them. Anyway, I really just wanted to share this. Not every person has the opportunity to explore their creativity and their art, but I feel like they should. It's so important to mental health. I think, wouldn't it be incredible if every human could find their artist style, you know, when they're younger, and just so cool. We all have that creative fingerprint in us. But it's neat that this got published and people can purchase it, because a lot of these neurodiverse individuals wouldn't have had this opportunity. It's all about, talks about what is person-centered thinking. Yeah, it's a very thoughtful book. So Heather, I'm not sure if Heather lives in every country or this is just one Heather, or I always have a laugh, but I like Heather's picks usually at chapters. This reminds me of an artist. I think it's Carolyn, no. Oh, what is her name? I really, really like this piece, and it's just titled Bug Oil Pastel on Paper. Just see if I can find the artist. I don't know if it has the artist name here, but just again, the tone paper, those almost like soft crayons, pastels, watercolor. It's oil pastel, but really beautiful. So it reminds me, yes, I have oil pastels and I really like that look. I might go back to them. So I just wanted to share that book. So on the back here, who gets to make art and who gets to define it is the question. And it says, art is art regardless of who makes it. Mildred Howard. Creativity explored is forever alive with the pulse of ideas, original thinking, and sheer beauty and creative expression. This art will welcome and challenge and change you. And it talks about, so Art is Art is the title. It's a powerful collection of hundreds of perspectives and pieces created in Creativity Explores Studios. So this is a studio, and I can't remember if it's in New York. You can look up Creativity Explored. San Francisco Mission District. It was founded in 1983 by Florence Ludens Katz and Elias Katz, a psychologist, motivated by the nationwide deinstitutionalization of disabled people and the belief that art is essential to life. The duo launched a movement in the Bay Area that continues to expand what it means to be a professional artist today. That is amazing. This whole page has so much incredible information. So there's that cover that I found really intriguing. So that is Art is Art, collaborating with neurodiverse artists at Creativity Explored. And we can just finish with maybe we could do some Crayola watercolors, little backgrounds. And I might cheat kind of and use this palette that I have. Slip it up here. And so these cards, again, there's like a watercolor side and a gloss side. So I want you to know that if you have purchased these cards off of Amazon like I did, this is the gloss side, and then you can tell that the other side is for watercolor. Now I like to get out a bunch of cards. You know, I'll do maybe just 4 at a time. And I love to paint with a round brush, but you may not like a round brush. This brush, as much as I want to paint with this today, I don't. I'm gonna just use I'll just use this smaller round Princeton number 6, just because it will show, it's a little bit better to get the pigments down, and it will just give me some of my own style with these watercolors. So what I do is I activate the watercolor palette. I get it quite wet, and I love the range of colors in here. And we'll just go ahead and get started. I'm gonna wet my brush. I have this little sheet of paper here just to kind of get off excess paint and create another background. And let's just